This one's probably going to be a little bit shorter than some of the others. I feel like I have to put in a disclaimer or something at the beginning, basically stating that just because I'm schizoid and, might have some other comorbid stuff, doesn't mean that I'm representative of any group or people. I'm just tight. I'm just speaking through my experiences and also based on the experiences of other people with similar PDs and issues and things like that, and some of their perspectives. It's kind of an amalgamation of what I experience and what I've seen others experience, and also what I've read about in some of the academic journals pertaining to some of this stuff. Relationships are a really weird subject um, for the schizoid because they there's generally doesn't exist very many of them, and the ones that do exist are very confusing initially because even if you're developing a connection with another person, you don't really pick up on it very easily. You don't really realize what it is, how it functions, what are the do's and don'ts, how to keep it, um, things like that. There's a lot of stuff that may come easy to a regular person as far as like feeling, like knowing that you're developing a connection or a friendship with somebody. That for a schizoid might seem like either foreign, confusing, even irritating initially because maybe they're not interested in whatever feelings or consequences that creating a social relationship with anyone, the baggage that it sometimes comes with. And so it's like this internal sort of conflict that occurs because you want to be alone, but you like a person's company, but you don't always want their company, but they want your company more than you want their company, and or like a mixture of stuff, especially toward the beginning of any kind of friendship sort of that's developing. And then navigating that is really crazy, really weird. Um, like this, it feels like you're walking through some swamp on a faraway planet that you don't know what's going to come out of the waters and bite your head off. You don't know what you can eat and what you can't eat, what's poisonous and what isn't. You can kind of discern that sort of stuff just based on what you know about behavior, what you understand, and also your past experiences with other people. But the whole kind of picking up on vibes and things like that is very difficult. The radar is usually all askew, it's all off. What's particularly challenging is that once you make the conscious decision of, oh, this is going to be a friend, or this is going to be an acquaintance, or this is going to be a this or that, from what I've experienced and from what I've been told as well, um, the challenge is when, like any other relationship or friendship or whatever, but human relationship, the more intimate or the more the closer they become, the more the other person will tend to rely or not rely, be open about their emotional needs or emotional opinions, or their quirks start coming out, their peeves start coming out. They start being more opinionated and more open, like I said, open about their emotional reactions to your behavior or your words. I'm sure this is like, I'm guessing that this is much more so the case among female friends, especially if you're a woman yourself and you're schizoid. I That must be a difficult world to kind of try to travel through. Um, I feel like it might be even more difficult than as a male schizoid. But that's just my guess. I would have to get comments on that. You guys would have to tell me because I can't really fully understand that one. But and so then when those things occur, you get mad or you get afraid, depending on your type, or you're indifferent, and that makes them mad, and then you get mad because they get mad, or you become weary of their behavior because you don't understand why they're reacting to you in a negative way, or say immediately like suddenly stop talking to you, or suddenly do this or that, and then it can get frustrating because you actually let someone in your own way, in your own like very limited way, and then their negative behavior or their confusing behavior becomes more of a reason for you to not want to develop future friendships or relationships with others, because they seem more troublesome than they're worth, because you're not really getting the same positive energy, like the positive feelings that maybe a regular person would get in order to combat some of the negative frustration that is coming up because of a behavior that they're exhibiting that you don't understand or care to understand, or just incapable of understanding because of your own PDs and things like that. Another problem that sometimes occurs is, especially if you're in like a workplace environment or something, right? So, and especially if you're doing a lot of masking, um, if you're doing it for the purposes of just being civil, and or just having to deal with emotional beings at work or at school, wherever you're doing it, even within your own family, um, sometimes like it could be cousins or something, or it could be um, coworkers or whatever that start becoming attached to you or attached to the persona you're putting out, just so that you can function. But they find it either charismatic, or they find you interesting or mysterious or fun to talk to, or what have you. Whatever reason they're emotionally connecting to you on some basic level, and regardless of it is associated to your masking persona, or they're just really curious about this quiet, kind of reserved, cold, sort of distant person. Either way, it's frustrating, especially if you don't feel any kind of connection for them or any interest in developing a friendship with that person. And their attempts become, well, they're futile, but their attempts become frustrating, aggravating, um, just troublesome in general, because you get stuck in that awkward place where you have to make it clear to them that you're not interested, but at the same time you're trying to keep up this facade of being like a reasonable person with normal, non-PD sort of functions. And so it becomes like this weird dance. In the past, I've had situations in which like somebody's trying to be my friend or trying to be cool with me, or trying to, they want to hang out with me, or they want to do this, or they want to like talk to me about, and I'm not interested. I'm just not. I'm just like in my head, I'm going, this is boring. I'm not interested in talking to you. I don't want to be your friend. It's nothing like super personal. It's just like anything could be, but it's just not interesting. It's not something I can just create out of thin air. I can't get myself to just start thinking someone's interesting, or I want to talk to them or make them a closer acquaintance. It's just not in my toolbox. I can't make that. I can't make a conscious decision of who it is that I feel I can talk to in a more intimate way, and who I don't. It just happens. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Really cut and dry. I've never. I mean, I can't think of a single instance in which I met somebody, got to know who they are a little bit, and then found them like not interesting or annoying, and then later thought, oh, they're actually really nice, and I want to be friends with them. There's been instances in which I did stuff like that, but it was more because I thought those are the steps you go through. I thought, oh, okay, well, they like me, or, the masked persona, so I guess we're friends now. So now I have to act like we're friends, weird stuff like that. That was before I kind of came to terms with what's up with me. Now I understand. It's just I either connect or I don't, and generally like 98% of the time I don't, and um, that's fine. But I can get a little mean when the other person just won't back off. And that's troubling too, because I'm not trying to go around hurting people's feelings. I'm just, but I'm also not like really hurt or bothered by hurting their feelings all that much. Because in my mind, if they can't just accept that I'm not interested in a friendship, that's on them. Like I try to make it as clear as possible, like in the nicest ways, when I've had situations like that, and it's weird. I just show disinterest, or I change the subject, or I keep myself busy and try not to, communicate very much with them, or I make just kind of shallow comments about not being interested and like, oh, that's not my kind of thing, that's boring, or hoping they think I'm a little rude and they leave me alone. It usually works, but sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it doesn't. Um, Other people are pretty good at picking up on when you're not interested, and they just leave you alone. Those people I'm cool with. In fact, I have had situations where people that were like that were kind of more, they just picked up on the vibe, um, then later became a somewhat of an acquaintance or semi friend or something, because that's already like a good step in my direction. Is you leave me the fuck alone if I'm showing that I'm not interested in talking. That part's cool. I like that, and it's really funny too, because I used to do the opposite to people too. I mean, like I used to like come across somebody that was probably closer to how I was, and I would still talk, mostly because I wanted to be entertained because I was bored. So I would want to talk about whatever subject was at hand, and just to pass the time. And sometimes I would just ignore the fact that the other person wasn't interested in what I was saying, and that's probably because I didn't care, because I just wanted to talk because I was bored. But that's something that I've curbed significantly um, over time. What's interesting too is that like whenever I do develop an acquaintance, I don't need to see them all the time. I don't need to. Um, I have no urge to like constantly see or interact with that person like on a daily basis. Um, there are very, very few exceptions. Like I said, that's like my really, really, really close, very small knit group of people. But in general, like if it's somebody that's like, oh, that's interesting, or that you'd want to hang out with, like normally, like a person would be like, oh, that's somebody I would hang out with, or that's somebody I want to talk to on social media all the time, or that's somebody I would interact with or want to have a conversation with, stuff like that. And go chill with them and blah blah blah. Like, I don't really need that. If they make the effort to try to hang out with me, um, and I feel up for it, then I might partake in it. Um, Maybe. I feel like less so now that I'm kind of like more coming to terms with what I enjoy, because sometimes I would agree to situations because I felt either I'm not obligated, but just felt like, oh, this is what people do, and then I would get there and it would be fun as long as we were doing something. But if we weren't actively doing like an activity, I would get really bored or annoyed, and I just wouldn't want to be there anymore. And I'd rather return back to my home and do whatever activities I was interested in doing, or books, reading, whatever. Just you know what I mean. Um, but that doesn't mean that I don't see them as like acquaintances, or because I gotta stop saying fucking. How do you curve a stupid, like a equivalent of I gotta find a way to get rid of that. It only usually occurs when I'm trying to just ramble, if I don't have any particular target I'm talking to. It's weird. I'm essentially talking to myself. Anyway, I can have a friendship or an acquaintance or whatever that I don't see for weeks at a time. I can just not speak to them for weeks and then show up and be like, "Oh hey, miss ya. How you been? Cool." Because I remember I like them. I like whoever they are, and they give me like some updates or whatever, and then that's cool. Same thing with like, even if they text me once in a while, like that's cool. Like I'll just respond and you know maybe have a conversation with them every so often. Um, Not even necessarily ever meeting up. It's not like a big requirement for me to retain a acquaintance. I don't really care about that, especially now. It's easier because of everything being internet based. But some people can't really like they can't deal with a friendship of that kind. That's too difficult, or they can't. Or if you're not responding to their stuff, or so on and so forth, they think that, oh, you've lost interest in them, or you don't care about them, or this or that. It doesn't always work that way. It doesn't work like that for a schizoid. So it's a lot different. Like I can stop seeing somebody for like a friend or something for like a year, and then I see them again and be like, "Oh hey, it's you. You want to play that video game again? That's good. You're still alive." Right? But that's just for like more like loose acquaintances, things like that. I would say for like inner circle, there's like I feel like there's different levels. There's like your loose acquaintances, and then there's your inner circle of people that you care for, like to where like you wouldn't want to go that long a period of time without ever seeing them, because you would still care to see them more often than just acquaintances. And then you care about them enough to like make certain efforts and for them, you know, energy giving efforts, social efforts. When I mean efforts, I mean like social interaction efforts. Not like you did a favor for them or you did something for them. That's easy. I can do that all the time. But I'm talking more like social interaction type efforts. So whenever I say efforts, that's what I mean. So then those people in that kind of inner circle, you do them more, you do them a lot more for them. They're the ones that are, you're willing to expend energy for and deal with the frustrations that come with a lot of those interactions, or that sometimes appear, risking those occurrences. Um, and then you have your super inner circle, like that's your like, in my case, like like a handful of people. Um, and and those are the people. I mean, there's like many levels, and then it's like a hierarchy, of course. Like at the top of my hierarchy are like my wife and children. It's like top, 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 top. You know. But within this inner circle, those are the people that you will see on a daily basis. You will interact with consistently. Um, Even from them though, like occasionally you still need your solitude. Like you need like an hour or two with no people, like a day or so, if possible. But but in their case, you're cool. You don't mind the interactions. You don't see them as troublesome or frustrating. Sometimes you can, especially when they get really emotionally charged or something. But but generally, it just feels like it's totally worth it because you love them. Those are the people you love as a schizoid, that you feel love. And I don't know if it's the same level of love normal people feel because I can't gauge it. I have no idea. But it feels like love to me, and those are the people I care about the most, and those are the people I don't want to let go, and I don't want to become detached from. Um, Interestingly enough, I don't know if there's any schizoids that are like that, but my wife is in fact the only person on the face of the planet outside of, well, my children too, but especially my wife, in which I feel needy. I don't feel needy with my kids, obviously. They need me, like you know what I'm saying. But with my wife, I actually feel needy. Like I want her affection, her attention, um, her eyes on me, her It's really strange. She can tell me like all kinds of stuff that I'm not, if she's talking about a subject matter I'm not interested in or whatever. I want to hear it because it makes her happy, and I like to see her happy, and that makes me feel good. And I actually have this need for attention from her, and it's weird because I've never had that need from anyone, like not even my own parents or siblings. I've never had that same need, or any of my friends, that need for their affection and their attention. She is the one and only person in which I need it. Um, and in my children's case, obviously, I want their affection. I welcome it at any chance they give it to me. That's different. But my wife's is like, it helps me function. It helps me have a reasonably um well, occasionally fulfilling life enough to where, it keeps me going. It keeps me moving. It gives me energy to not just want to give up, especially with how horrible everything is all the time in this godforsaken world. I know some of you probably don't have that person, and I don't envy you, but I'm sure you don't envy me because some of you would prefer not to have to deal with the ups and downs that comes to having someone that close to your heart. Um, I feel it's worth it, and I feel it's of great importance to me. But that's just my experience. Everyone's different. Now let me get to the frustration part. The wouldn't be angst wouldn't be in the title of my channel if there wasn't some involved, right? Well, the angst, I guess, that comes from developing close relationships for a schizoid would be that, if they manage to at all, would be that you still don't really understand the gravity of emotional input and output. Um, since you don't feel as deeply as maybe the regular people do. I mean, you still feel. You're not a robot. Of course, you can feel. You're just not as expressive, or don't know exactly how to express it, or don't like really dealing with them. When they do occur, they're just more intrusive. They feel intrusive feelings. Um, but point is, when you're interacting with the people you care about the most, um, sometimes you make mistakes, or you get mad at yourself because you said the wrong thing, because you thought you were being reasonable or logical or rational, because a lot of schizoids kind of function on that level because it's easier to understand than feelings. We tend to like kind of rationalize or reason our way out of things or into things, because feelings are difficult to grasp, feelings are confusing, and just like I said, just frustrating. And sometimes when we attempt to find solutions to problems or conflicts that are feelings based using those methods, it doesn't click, it doesn't work. It causes more problems or more emotions to rise up out of the people you're dealing with, or the people you care for. And that can get really fucking annoying. And it's not so like you get really fucking annoyed with them, but you get more annoyed with yourself because you're having these negative feelings about their having feelings at all, or having too many feelings. And so you get frustrated, you get angry, you get defensive. They start misunderstanding your intentions because your intentions aren't very clear because, well, you're not exhibiting them very well, or you're exhibiting them inappropriately. Sometimes caring for someone else and trying to give them advice when you know they're making a terrible choice might come off as condescending, might come off as know-it-all, might come off as you're angry at them, but you're more angry at the fact that they're going to hurt themselves or hurt someone else or cause problems for people around them, and you're not really grasping why the fuck it is they're doing it, but they have their reasons, they have their emotional, you know, reasons for their actions, and especially when those actions seem totally irrational, um, because they are, because it's based on emotion. Oftentimes, it's not like a calculated choice they're making. And sometimes it's just a spur of the moment decision or spur of the moment comment or feeling that they're having at that moment, just at that period. Um, and it doesn't make sense to you, so you get fucking mad, and you might say things that are rude, because like, to you they're acting. You think they're being an idiot, or they're acting like a child or something. And of course, if you say something like that, oof, well, I mean, it's gonna make things way fucking worse, and then it's gonna make things more frustrating for you, because you understand even less why they can't just heed your warnings, and be quiet or something, which isn't how people work. Um, because you can tell in your mind that they're making an irrational argument, and you're making the most rational one you can, and you start getting progressively irrationally angry with them. Well, it's because in your mind it's a rational anger because they're not listening. So it's really, really, really fucking complicated. Man, it's really, really fucking complicated. But a lot of it comes from a place of love or care for the person. Because if you didn't care, you wouldn't even bother trying to help them. You wouldn't even bother attempting to solve the problem or help them with whatever conflict they have with you. You wouldn't even make the effort to find a solution as a schizoid if you didn't think they were worth it to that degree. And so when one of the most difficult aspects of it is when you're told that either you do not care, or you do not um, care to understand, or care to listen, or care to this or care to that, like you don't give a shit or something. And as a schizoid, when you hear somebody that you do care about, because there's very few people you do care about, tell you that you don't give a shit, that makes you fucking go crazy, man. That makes you go really fucking nuts. Like, white boy punching fucking holes in the drywall, fucking nuts. Because you're just like, you don't have a lot of connections. And so in your heart, you're trying to help them. You're trying to tell them this is not okay, or this is bad, or this is okay, this isn't bad. Or, you're trying to either calm them down, or you're trying to tell them that's not okay, or this is okay, or this is a better choice, or this is a better option, or this is more pragmatic, or this is more financially sound, or whatever it is you're trying to like argue at that time. Or that's a risk that's worthwhile, or that isn't a risk that's worthwhile. um you know the, I mean, ideally you would want them to discuss it with you back, give you their points, and try to like create an argumentation in which they can try to refute your points. And so then you're like, okay, and then you can concede if their logic is more sound, or their reasoning is more sound than yours. But they usually respond with some kind of emotional arguments, or like outrage, or something like that. And so then you just get like just angry and fucking mad, because you're just like, no, you're not listening, you're not fucking listening, you're not listening to what I'm saying. You're just thinking, you're just perceiving what I'm saying a certain way, or you're just doing this, or you're doing that, or all you're doing is thinking about these emotional inputs and outputs, and it's just fucking, you don't get it. You don't get it. And then you feel shitty because you don't get it, because you still care about that person, and you're making them feel shitty. And your intention wasn't to make them feel shitty. So everyone just then feels kind of really shitty in that situation. And you come off looking like some cold, distant asshole, or someone that only gives a shit about what they think instead of what the other person thinks. Um, because of that. Because of that. And sometimes it's weird, because like sometimes somebody wants you to get mad with them, or fight with them, or argue with them, and you're just sitting there like, why? I'm not mad. This is fine. But then they get mad, and then you're like, why are you mad? And then you start getting mad because, well, at least in my case, I start getting mad. Some people might get afraid, or want to like get in their shell, just leave the situation or avoid the conflict. But I'm the type that gets angry because I'm like, I don't understand. I don't understand why is this happening? Why are you getting like this? This is can we just talk? Can we conversate? Oh, you're getting heated? Okay, now I'm getting heated. Okay, so okay, is this how we're talking now? We're talking loud and mad? Oh wait, now I'm too loud and mad compared to how you were, even though, you started the loud and mad department. So it gets like that. And it's stupid and it's crazy. And it's funny because what's hilarious about it is that both people, if you're dealing with someone that's schizoid, has anger too, like myself, like both people aren't even getting mad about the same things. Like they're I'm not even getting mad about what the situation is about. I'm getting more mad about the fact that anyone's getting mad or that it's getting really like heated at all. Um, when it didn't have to be, especially when you're talking to someone you care about. Like it's different because you don't want to argue with them. You love them. You care about them. You don't want to fight. That's not what you want because you have so few connections that the last thing you want is to risk severing or damaging the ones you do have because you appreciate the ones you have. You don't want to lose them. Um, and you don't want to go through the fucking trouble of trying to develop new ones on top of that. That's just like, oh my God. Because I mean, I didn't really go through much effort to develop the ones I had. I just kind of accepted them and then made efforts after, or after discovering their importance to me. But God, just the process alone is so taxing that if you have a bad out with somebody and then like you don't want to make more friends after that, or you don't want to do like if for some reason, and I don't foresee this occurring, like if for some reason my marriage didn't work out, oh God, no, I don't even want another partner. Like that's like that close. Like I don't even want to go through all that to develop that kind of like the cohesion, that I have now with the person I love. Like I do, fuck that, fuck that. Um, so yeah. So anyway, that's all I have to say about that. Shit. And that ended up going about 30 minutes anyway. I thought it was going to be shorter, but then I got kind of sidetracked for a minute there. Uh, oh, in either case, I should mention again, subscribe if you're interested in more of me just rambling on and on. Comment if you have opinions on what I said, or if you disagree or you agree, or tell me stories about, similar experiences, anything like that. It's interesting to me. It also gives me ideas for other things I might want to talk about in the future, in the near future. I see that the subscriber count is growing, which is kind of cool. Um, I didn't expect it to, honestly. I thought it was just going to be some kind of like audio blog where I just speak to myself and I just do it to kind of vent, but it's cool. There's people listening. It's kind of neat, I guess. Like, it's cool. I like the information I'm getting from those people that have commented. So please comment. Um, Please subscribe. Like I said, I noticed for some reason a bunch of people listening to me that don't subscribe. I don't get it. Like they're listening to a significant amount or portion of the recording too. It's kind of funny. Maybe they hear it and they go, "This guy's crazy, weird, or annoying," and they just sit there and listen to me for 20 minutes and then just click click the tab off. Like I don't, I'm not sure what it is that they were doing. Um, I was a little aggressive with my yelling about being, to subscribe last time. It's probably because I was really, really I had a headache and I was particularly that day. But yeah, just like it, subscribe, blah 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 blah, all that garbage. Feels gross just saying it, but whatever. I mean, if it helps people and they're enjoying it, I guess that's good, right? Next time I'm probably gonna try to think about a few subjects I want to tackle. Um, well, some of the ideas I had. So if you hear this part, just kind of comment on which one you find most interesting. So I wanted to talk about either schizoid outings, like so when you go out and you do stuff like just day to day, kind of like going to the store and what that's like, and interacting with people there, and things like that. So I had an idea for that. The other one that might get a little deeper, interesting for some of you, philosophers out there or whatever, is schizoid ethics, and I guess morality, sort of, how that functions in my mind. It might be different for other people that have the same kind of PD, but that. And the third one I was interested in talking about, and somebody had mentioned it in a comment previously, was talking about how schizoid individuals develop, like why it happens, and also about some of the problems I've seen in some of the academic writings or blogs, or just things where you have psychologists and things, discussing schizoid behavior or treatment and things like that, like, and what it is. Some of the problems that I've seen when reading some of that stuff, some of the misunderstandings I think they have, or generalizations they make. But thank you for listening. Have yourself another shitty day.